My name's Noah Parker. I'm 27, and if you ask my folks, they'd probably pin me as the family's resident troublemaker. Not because I'm out here causing chaos or dodging bills, but because I got my life together, which, in their eyes, makes me the go-to guy for bailing out everyone else. I work hard, pay my rent, and keep my tiny apartment in Dusty Palms, Arizona, free of tumbleweeds and existential dread. But to my parents, that just means I'm the designated problem wrangler, expected to toss a rope whenever someone, namely my older sister, Harper, trips over her own bad decisions. Harper's 30, but you'd swear she's auditioning for teen drama. She's never held a job longer than a desert rainstorm, always has a sob story about why her rent's late, and somehow convinces mom and dad she's the victim of a cosmic conspiracy. Her boss is a tyrant. Her roommates are vibes assassins. The economy's a maze. So, she ping-pongs between my parents' stucco ranch house and the couches of friends too nice to say no. Early on, I figured out that if I wanted a life without her drama blowing through like a sandstorm, I needed boundaries, big barbed wire ones. I made it clear I wasn't her personal ATM, but as I'd soon learn, my family treated those boundaries like a welcome mat they could wipe their boots on. It all exploded at a family taco night at my parents' place. I should have smelled trouble the second I walked in. Mom was laying on the charm thicker than her homemade salsa. Dad was quieter than a cactus. And Harper wouldn't meet my eyes, poking at her phone like it held the secrets to the universe. Something was brewing, but I didn't realize it was a full-on ambush until the tortillas hit the table. Dinner started fine. Small talk, Mom's usual jabs about how I never visit, me nodding along, dreaming of the flan and my escape. Then, as I was mentally halfway out the door, Mom set down her fork, clasped her hands like she was about to deliver a TED Talk, and dropped the bomb. "So, Noah," she said, voice dripping with sugar, "Harper's gonna crash at your place for a bit." I nearly inhaled a chunk of carnitas. The room went silent, like they were all waiting for me to nod and pass the guac. I didn't say a word, just stared, letting the absurdity sink in. Mom barreled on, undeterred. "She's had a rough go lately, and you've got that cute little apartment all to yourself. It just makes sense. You can help her get back on track, and she won't be stressing us out." Stressing them out, because apparently it's my job to herd Harper's chaos while they sip margaritas. Dad finally piped up, "You can afford it, Noah. She just needs a stable spot to sort herself out." Harper, playing her part, chimed in with a rehearsed, "It's only a few months and I can, like, water your plants or something." Plants Harper couldn't keep a cactus alive, and we all knew it. But I stayed quiet, letting them dig their hole, watching the train wreck unfold like I was munching popcorn at a bad rom-com. I let the silence stretch until Mom fidgeted and Dad cleared his throat. Then I leaned back, set my fork down, and said, "Okay." The room froze. Mom blinked like I'd spoken in tongues. Dad's shoulders relaxed. And Harper, oh, Harper smirked like she'd just conned a slot machine. "Really?" Mom asked, squinting. I shrugged. "Sure, if it helps Harper, why not? They bought a hook, line, and sinker." Mom launched into a gushing monologue about how proud she was of my selflessness. Dad nodded like I'd earned a medal, and Harper leaned back, already mentally redecorating my apartment. I could see her scheming, picking which corner she'd dump her thrift store lamps, how she'd borrow my Wi-Fi for her freelance gigs. She had a history of this, you see. Growing up, she'd swipe my hoodies and act like I was the jerk for caring. In college, she borrowed my tablet and forgot to return it. When she got her first place and couldn't pay utilities, she sweet-talked our parents into guilting me to cover her. Just this once. It was never once. Harper wasn't just entitled. She was a black belt in playing the damsel, making me the bad guy if I dared say no. But this time, she had no clue what was coming. When she moving in, I asked, casual as if we were discussing the weather, scooping more salsa. Mom beamed. "This weekend. That way she can settle in before she starts job hunting." Harper stretched, smug as a cat in a sunbeam. "I don't have much stuff, some clothes, a couple boxes. Won't take long." I nodded, all chill. "Cool, just let me know when you're rolling up." And that was true. I'd be there, just not where they thought. See, I hadn't lived in that apartment for weeks. I'd sold it, lock, stock, and barrel, to a no-nonsense retiree who turned it into a pottery studio. My new place, a sleek condo across town, address unknown to the family. I wasn't about to stop them from showing up at the old place with Harper's junk. Oh no, I was going to let them walk right into their own cactus patch. The days before the weekend crawled by, but I was buzzing with glee, picturing the chaos. I kept my cool around my parents, dropping no hints, letting their plan chug along like a doomed freight train. Saturday, I spent the day at my new condo, binging a sci-fi show and ignoring my phone. Around noon, it lit up with an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, then it rang again. Showtime. Hello. I answered, voice pure innocence. Noah. Mom's voice was tight, like she'd bitten into a bad jalapeno. What's going on? I could hear Dad in the background, grumbling, and Harper muttering like a storm cloud. What do you mean? I asked, playing dumb. We're at your apartment. Mom snapped. The landlord says you sold it weeks ago, and some lady's living here now. I bit my lip to keep from cackling. Oh, that's weird, I said, all confusion. Guess I forgot to mention. Dad's voice cut in sharp. Noah, you said Harper could move in. Now we're stuck with her stuff. What's the deal? I leaned back on my couch, savoring it. Listen, I thought you knew. I sold the place a while back. New chapter. Didn't think it mattered since, well, it wasn't relevant to me. Silence. Then Mom, almost whispering, you sold it and didn't tell us. I stretched out casual. Yeah, last-minute thing. Got a great offer, couldn't say no. Guess I figured you'd be in the loop, since you're always so involved. Dad's voice hit a new pitch. So what now? You promised Harper a place, and we've got our boxes here. You can't just spring this on us. I was loving every second. I don't know, Dad. I thought I mentioned I moved. My bad. You could always find Harper a spot. Plenty of couches out there, right? Mom's voice cracked. This isn't fair, Noah. You're leaving us to clean up your mess. I grinned, unseen. Mess now, Mom. I'm just living my life. Sometimes things slip through the cracks. You can't expect me to always be the fixer, right? Harper's voice broke through, shrill. What is this? Noah, you're screwing me over. I kept my tone light. Screwing you over, Harps. Maybe you should have had a backup plan before banking on my address. She hissed something I didn't catch, but I was too busy enjoying the meltdown to care. Gotta run, I said, all breezy. Good luck, though. Bet you'll figure it out. I hung up, fingers tingling, and sank into my couch, picturing them standing in the apartment parking lot, surrounded by Harper's mismatched luggage, fuming. I spent the afternoon in a haze of satisfaction, letting their chaos stew. My parents aren't quitters. They'd regroup, try to spin this as my fault. Harper would play the victim, as always. But I wasn't done. Around dusk, as I was grilling a burger in my new kitchen, a knock rattled my door. I checked the peephole and nearly dropped my spatula. There they were, Mom, Dad, Harper, and, yep, a car stuffed with her stuff, boxes teetering like a Jenga tower. They'd tracked down my new place, probably through some cousin's gossip. I opened the door, cool as a desert night. Noah, Mom started, voice wobbly. We tried calling, but you didn't answer. We found your new address. Dad jumped in, defensive. You need to fix this. You said Harper could move in, and now we're stranded. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Here's the thing. I never said she could move in here. This is my place, and I'm not running a hostel. Harper glared, arms folded. This is ridiculous, Noah. You agreed, and now you're acting like we're strangers. I'm your sister. I raised an eyebrow. Sister funny. I thought you were just looking for a free lease. Their faces shifted, confusion, then fury, then a dawning embarrassment. They'd miscalculated big time. I let the silence hang, then turned the screws. Look, I don't know how to make this clearer. This is my home. I didn't sell it, didn't offer it up. I'm not your crash pad anymore. Dad's jaw tightened. You lied, Noah. You knew we were counting on you. I shrugged. Lied, nah, you just didn't ask. Assumed I'd roll over, like always. Harper stepped forward, seething. You're no brother. You're throwing me out after everything. I met her gaze. Not throwing you out, Harps. Just not letting you in. The air crackled. Mom looked ready to cry. Dad was pacing. And Harper, well, she snapped. Fine, we'll make you. She lunged for the door, like she'd barge in and claim a room. That's when I pulled my phone out, dialed 911, and spoke, calm as ever. Hi, I need to report a trespassing issue. They froze, faces paling. I kept going, eyes on Harper. My family's trying to move into my apartment without permission. I've asked them to leave, but they're refusing. I don't feel safe. Harper's mouth dropped. Mom went silent, and Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. "This'll end badly for you," Harper hissed. I smiled. "We'll see." Sirens wailed in the distance. A cop rolled up, a no-nonsense woman with a buzz cut and a "don't test me" vibe. She eyed me, then the trio on my doorstep. "Evening. Trouble here," I nodded. "Yes, officer." They showed up uninvited, trying to move in. I've asked them to leave, but they won't. The cop turned to Harper. "That true?" Harper exploded. "He's lying. He said I could live here, and now he's kicking me out." The officer didn't blink. "Ma'am, if he says you can't stay, you're trespassing. You can't force your way into someone's home." Dad, try to smooth it over. "Officer, we didn't mean harm. We thought Noah was okay with it. He's helped us before." The cop's face stayed stone. "Doesn't matter what you thought. It's his property, his rules. Leave now, or we'll have a problem." Harper glared. Mom teetered on tears, but they had no moves left. The officer gave them one last warning, and they shuffled off, Harper muttering, Dad dragging boxes back to the car. The cop glanced at me. "Call if they come back." I nodded. "Thanks, officer." They were gone. I locked the door, sank onto my couch, and let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. It wasn't glee, exactly. More like the relief of a weight lifting, years of being the family's doormat finally shaken off. The next day, my phone blew up. Voicemails of Mom's guilt trips, Dad's rants, Harper's text calling me a selfish jerk. I blocked them all. Weeks later, I'm breathing easier, focusing on my coding job, my buddies, my life. No more dreading the next favor. I've got my peace, my space, and a cactus on my windowsill that's thriving, no thanks to Harper. But I'm curious, what do you think? Was I too harsh? Did I overplay my hand? I'm not fishing for pity. Just wondering if I nailed this or if there was a better way. Hit me with your thoughts.